we celebrate the end of a year on a certain day and the birth of a new year on a certain day, and we all agree to that. So we get to speak kind of a common language, even though we all have our own perceptions and ideas about it.
Yeah.
So I think that that's just, you know, part of being human. The other thing, Bill, just, I don't have New Year's resolutions, but I was having a conversation with someone I work with who is struggling with the idea of setting goals. He'd done it for a long time and just he wanted a less hustle and grind way to approach continuing to move forwards in his life. And we were talking about the whole idea of becoming a skillful navigator of your own life, where, just learning how to sail so that when the weather systems come and go, you have the ability to handle that and enjoy the process as
Yeah.
it unfolds before you. And I told him, so why don't you just think about sailing to a destination? And when you get there, take a picture and go to the next destination. So, so like for me, I have a destination in mind, kind of a goal at the end of September that's physical, something new that I want to do this year. And what it's doing is it's helping me have something that when I'm forced with, one of the habit swaps I made where like I focus a lot on nutrition. So, it's having a beer or having a glass of water with a meal. I have something to look forward to that makes it easier for me to reference that choice and really make a decision as to whether I want the beer, need the beer, or if I could skip it for that meal and just have the water instead, that kind of thing. So
Mhm.
it helps. But the point isn't to go win this thing I'm going to do. The point is it's just a destination I'm moving towards. And it helps give me a little bit of motivation to make the choices that I've decided I want to make anyway, you know? So, and this gentleman that I was working with, he found that helpful. So, because it wasn't a goal he had to achieve, like Lisa was saying, it was a destination he's moving towards, and he can always change the destination if it's not working out for him. There's no pressure on that.
So
And then
like,
you have you have the way of honoring those little steps, like choosing the water. I mean, that's kind of cool. Like the next day, you go, that was good that I did that. You know what I
we're
mean?
choosing the beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neither one's
Or that
wrong.
was
Or
good that I
choosing the
did
beer.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you feel like you're setting a goal to lock you in or lock you out of decisions, that's not a goal. Okay.
No.
That's a restriction. That is tying your hands behind your back. That is leaving yourself less than all of your capabilities as a fully functioning human being. And if in the moment it makes sense for you to say, I'll have the water, that's a cool
Yeah.
thing. And
You,
it's,
you know, it's funny, Bill, how you have the Apple Watch, the rings,
yes,
like that you close on it. I had forgotten until yesterday. Yeah, I have closed my rings, all three rings, every day since January 1st, 2019.
Wow.
It's been
very cool.
3 years now, but it's become such a habit. I forgot that was even a thing.
Yeah.
And it started and it started as kind of like a New Year's resolution in 2019, where, I was coming through a lot of difficult times and physically I wasn't feeling as good. So it seemed like a simple anchor. It's just 30 minutes of exercise, stand up at least for a couple minutes every hour for 12 hours a day. And then
Yes.
there was a caloric burn, so it seemed like so I just decided to do it for the month of January. And then that turned into February, and all of a sudden it'd been a year. And then I'm like, I did it for a year. I wonder if I'll be able to do it for another year. And I did. And now this third year was just, I forgot I'm even doing it anymore. It just kind of happens. It's such an ingrained habit,
Yeah, the dopamine rush that you get from having completed 7 days of closing your rings, or you now have 39 days in a row, and all this other kind of stuff. It's kind of self-affirming, and nobody else knows that it's there. It's like a little personal deal, and it's perfect for illustrating the goal has to be something that is continuously re-empowering. Otherwise, it's not a goal. You're doing something you feel you have to do for some reason other than the direction your life is going. And if that's the case, try something else.
Yeah. The cool thing though, the dopamine rush is gone.
Yeah.
Like it's not something I do for it's just who I am. And that's a fascinating thing. And I think that would be an interesting thing to play with. Is it, you know, are you able to create rhythms in your life where, you know, it's funny, like we don't think about, for the majority of people, they don't get a dopamine rush when they brush their teeth. They just brush their teeth. But we actually like clean our teeth more than any other. We tend to our teeth more than we tend to the health of our heart or our brain. It's like it's just something we do, you know? So, but you very rarely do you need an app to congratulate yourself. Maybe when you're a kid, you need you need some kind of, but it's just a thing that we do. We have things that we do, you know? So it's just kind of interesting when you're thinking about, even like at the New Year time, what are those habits that, you know, maybe they start with that, you know, you need that feeling, that dopamine feeling or whatever it is, but how do you how do you weave it into your life in a way where it just becomes an of course? You know, there's this Chinese saying about, you know, the best pair of shoes you'll ever wear are the ones that you don't, I don't remember exactly how the expression goes, but basically you forget you're even wearing them. You don't even notice you're wearing them until they wear out. And you know, it's kind of like a loved one who they've just been such a part of your life. And then, you know, when they pass on, you recognize their value in new ways because of the whole that's been created, you know, that kind of thing.
Holy
So
anthropomorphizing,
yeah.
man. When your shoes pass on, you know.
Yeah.
I love it. But don't we
Yeah,
have
you know,
that
it's just kind of funny,
relationship
you know.
with inanimate objects in our life? You know, they're almost like
We
friends.
do.
And you know, we talk about that pair of gloves or something fitting you like a glove. And I have this
Yeah, yeah.
wallet. It's the same wallet I've been using for nearly 20 years. And it folds open and it's got places for everything. And it's got a little zipper thingy. And now they don't make the damn thing anymore. I mean, I'm out in the world trying to find something to replace it. And I have
Mm.
one more because I usually bought these things four at a time. And so I never got a heads up that this thing was being discontinued by a company over in Europe. And there's nothing else out there like it. And yes, no, I'm really hanging on, and I'm using the one that where the zipper's broken on it and it's all worn out, and I still have the brand last new one in its little wrapper waiting over there for me someday, but not now.
I was at a class the other night, and the gentleman that was teaching the class, who was just talking about his New Year's Day, and said, in the early hours of New Year's Day, my iPhone transitioned.
Oh,
That's excellent.
iPhone 13, we hardly knew yet. That's crazy. You know what?
I'll share one really funny story. You know, my
Would you
mentor
please?
passed. You know, yeah, you know, my mentor passed recently, and his daughter was, you know, going through the house and everything, and just talking about all of. I mean, this is half a century of martial arts training that, you know, and teaching and all that kind of stuff. And she was talking about all the just weird things she was finding. And I said, I guarantee at some point you're going to go into a closet and there are going to be shoe boxes, and they're going to be filled with Converse martial arts shoes. Because in the 90s, Converse had made this awesome martial arts shoe, and then they stopped. So all of us that were, especially if we were teaching, we all had hoarded them. And just like you're talking about with your wallet, Bill.
Yep.
So sure enough, she calls me the next day laughing and sends me a picture. And sure enough, there were 4 boxes of these shoes unopened, you know, that he had been saving because he knew you couldn't get them anymore. So
Are they your
so
size?
actually, I have a pair of them now.
Well,
that's self-affirming to know that other people have that same behavior. I
yeah.
kind of thought I was a little high.
Nope.
It's good stuff. So if it's not a time for resolution, how about a time for just kind of taking a few moments and appreciating and being grateful? That's a daily practice, like closing your rings for me. And I will typically spend the first, I don't know, 10 minutes or so when I get up in the morning. And it varies. It's usually somewhere between I don't know, 3:45 and 5:45, kind of depending on what's going on. But I take that moment in time and I do this thing on Facebook called Pokes. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's an app that started in 2007 or 2008, and people who were your friends could poke you. It was like a like, except for it didn't go on you. First, the pokes went on your wall where you could actually see it next to the likes and the comments and all that sort of thing. And then Facebook moved it out of there into its own application. And I had people that I was poking in 2008 and 2009, 130, 140 people a day from all over the world. And I would sit there and I would look at this screen and I would say to the woman in the Philippines, I bless you, I bless your family, and then I would poke. And then the next person, I bless you, I bless your family, and I would poke. And so I went through this kind of like on purpose, for all of the people that are my friends that can't be present with me right now. It's a way for me to be in your life and you to be in mine, if only just presencing you for a moment. Kind of similar to when they do the Wreaths Across America, and they go out and they decorate all of the fallen soldiers, all of their graves, and they say their name out loud. It's that sort of a thing where you're putting the energy out into the world and creating this awesome little pebble into the water that creates another ripple and another ripple. And I felt like if enough people did something like that every single day, would that actually make a change, to how the world operates, and where would it bring an appreciation and a function to an area where maybe some is lacking, and would it also give people a sense of the power that you have to just wish people a good day, and start the next thought in their mind on a positive step. So that's kind of it for me. Appreciation, gratefulness, thank you. Anything else?
Can I add one thing? You're talking about the BS detector.
Oh, you want to go back here now?
And,
yeah, let's do that.
Just something for I'd like to offer for consideration. Someone I'm working with right now on a project, and he was talking about there's our ability, our cognitive ability, and our emotional, context, and our imaginative context, and the fact that these are all human things that are part of the human experience. The challenge is we don't always know which one we're in. So and he works with a lot of people who will express an opinion or a thought, and they'll say they're using critical thinking, and he says, no, you're not. You're using your imagination. You're not in cognition right now. But just like a kid who says their stomach hurts, they're having a feeling, but they may not know where that's coming from. And they may be confusing that. Maybe it's because they ate the wrong thing. Maybe they're having anxiety. So they're interpreting it without having cultivated enough self-awareness to understand what the signal is sending. So I think one of the things that, would serve us all is to start to recognize, am I really in a cognitive state? Like, for example, latest research is saying that when you have, you get an endorphin kick from confirmation bias, when something you're told or that you read confirms something you already believe, it's about 10 times more powerful than cocaine, more powerful than the likes and the comments on social media, incredibly powerful. So are you having a feeling right now that's chemical and human, or is it actual cognition? Are you having a thinking moment, or you have a feeling moment? And I think a lot of times it's very difficult, even if you practiced it for a long time, to know the difference. So just starting the process of noticing, someone says this and you have a reaction or response to it, asking yourself just from a curious place, where is this response coming from? Is it actual cognitive? Does it align with thinking, which is tactile, or is it an emotional and a chemical reaction, that kind of thing. So it's been really interesting. And one of the reasons that I'm helping him put together a course to help people understand how to know, because we outsource a lot of our knowledge now.